Hi, today we're going to be talking about how to maintain and create an organized notebook for the 2015-2016 school year. So, first thing you're going to need to create this notebook is a 5-subject notebook. Looks like this. And just for your reference, this is Job Aid Part 2. In Job Aid Part 1, you learned a little bit about how to know whether papers are important or not. The key word for that was important. So your teacher will tell you, you have an important handout, please glue it onto page 3 of your notebook. Or your teacher will say, this is an important handout, we don't have time to glue it now, please put it in the language arts section of your notebook. So now that you've heard about that, we're going to learn how to actually go about putting your handouts in your notebook. So the first thing is that all of your notebooks are going to have a table of contents. The table of contents is going to go on the inside cover of your notebook. So to give you an example of what the table of contents looks like, I'll try to move my fingers. You see table of contents, then there's a section, and then it has page numbers. So P1, P2. There are 72 pages per section, so each section is going to be numbered from 1 to 72 on the table of contents. And as the year goes on and you put new handouts into your notebook, you're going to be writing what those handouts are into this table of contents. Okay. So, once you have your table of contents, the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to actually write numbers in the corner of your notebook that are going to correspond to the numbers on the table of contents. So, the upper right corner of each page is going to have a number. So to give you an example, in the top right corner you can see this says page 1. We're using both sides of this notebook so that we maximize our space. So the next page, top corner, is going to say, let's see if you can see it, page 2. And you're going to keep doing this on the front and back side of each page until you get to 72. When you get to a new section, you're going to start from 1 again and number from 1 to 72. Okay, so now that you know how to do both of those things, it's time to get to the main part. So your teacher will either be giving you notes that are going to be 1 page worth of notes that are important enough to stay in your notebook. And obviously you take those notes off of the board and you write in the section and the page number that your teacher tells you to. Or you're going to get an important handout. Your teacher will say, okay, this is an important handout. Please glue it onto page 3 of the language arts section. Or in this case, I'll show you with page 1 of the language arts section. So you take tape or glue, in this case we have tape, and you take your scissors. If you need to cut the paper down to size, you can do that. So this way it fits into my notebook. And then you take your notebook, and on the page that you're meant to glue something on, you're going to go ahead and either tape or glue. So I'm going to take my tape and I'm going to tape something on there. Okay, and now on my first page we have this important handout, which is, in this case, a Freckle Juice review. You can see the handout. The teacher in this case told me to take some notes at the top, which is what the top part says. And then at the very top you can see this is on page 1. So now that you know how you actually go about cutting and taping or cutting and gluing into your notebook, you have to remember that once you put a handout in there, you need to put it on the table of contents. So in my table of contents, for page 1 of the language arts section, I'm going to go ahead and write Freckle Juice Review, because that's the title of the handout. And on here you can see it says on page 1, Freckle Juice Review in the language arts section. That way when your teacher tells you that you're going to need to know a certain thing, you know where to go because you have a table of contents to guide you. So the last thing that you need to know about is that each of your sections is going to have a folder. These folders are going to be for times when your teacher gives you a handout but tells you not to glue yet because you don't have enough time in class. So your teacher may say, please turn to the Language Arts folder of your notebook. This folder in each 5-subject notebook comes before the section begins. So I want you to go ahead and label this folder. So in this case, this is my Language Arts section. So I'm going to label it Language Arts folder, and it will look like this. Now whenever I get handouts, I can put them in my Language Arts folder until they're ready to glue. So I hope that you can refer back to this job aid on how to create your table of contents, how to number the pages of your notebook from 1 to 72 per section using both sides of the page, on how to put important handouts onto certain pages using glue or tape and cutting them down, and then how to write those handouts back into the table of contents, and how to mark the folders for different sections. That's what you need to know for organizing your notebook for the 2015-2016 school year, and this was Job Aid 2. Job Aid 3 gives you an indication of how to find and print handouts from your teacher's website so that you can then put them in this notebook when your teacher gives you instructions to do so. Thanks for watching. Please refer to this again. Goodbye.